Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bryony and I do cruelty free and vegan makeup reviews and tutorials on this channel and deep dives into the environmental and ethical issues around the beauty industry. So don't forget to subscribe and also hit that like because that really helps me out with engagement as well as commenting down below. So welcome to day 6. We're on to the second hand, oh my god. This is of all of the good news stories of things that have happened in the beauty industry over I don't know how many years. Today we're going to BC times, like a lot has happened. The topic on paper might not sound interesting, but it genuinely is really interesting with the stuff that we've been able to do. So please do watch all the way to the end of this video. There's a lot of really useful tidbits that might be able to help with your next pub quiz. This is the look that we're creating. I was originally going for an e-girl look, but now I feel like I belong in a gingerbread house. So either way, please do copy this look. I've got all of the products that I've used listed down below. They're all cruelty-free, vegan, and not owned by parent companies that test on animals as well. And if you do recreate this look, tag me on Instagram right here because I would love to see it, because I'm honestly convinced that you can do better stars than this and better hearts, just better overall, because you are all much more talented than me, I'm very sure. So let's just jump straight into this video. All of the sources are linked down below too. Base done, bronzer, whatever done, you don't care. We're here for the cool eye look. Since we're dealing with a lot of colour today, using the Slush palettes, both of them from September Rose Cosmetics. Making a bit of tiger's blood. Now obviously you'll understand that paintbrushes precede makeup brushes. I think that everyone knows. They were actually made and used between 16,500 and 13,000 BC. People were really into their tools back then, but they actually made them out of like hollowed out bones or sticks with like feathers and or like animal hair. So it's quite amazing how much they were able to really create when you really break it down. And the oldest one has been found in Spain, so that's something. So what the Egyptians did was they used frayed papyrus and sticks. And in the Middle Ages, further technological development was actually done, and paintbrushes were used exclusively by monks in monasteries, and they were made of quill and animal hair. Slush 2 palette, red wine, black fingernails. Shout out to anyone that knows that song. So until the end of the 17th century, every single artist had to actually create their own brushes. I don't know about you, but I would never be able to like create these, like seriously. I'm really glad that there was a profession that was created in the 18th century in order to actually create brushes. The thing is that people don't quite realize how long it takes to make a brush. Like you have to organize each individual hair to make sure it forms like the perfect shape that you need, and it's like, who has time for this? No one. Orange peach, I think. So hog was the first kind that was like really everywhere. So they used hog bristle, and that was mostly formed from China because that was where like this particular hog was actually living and farmed and killed for bristles and probably meat as well, because why would you not do one without the other? Really gross. So that was the most popular kind that was like prevalent. But they also use like other types of animals, whether it's horse, goat, squirrels, badgers, oxen too. But I mean, like the optimum prime of like all of them was this one particular animal that is so cute, and it's still held up in like really high regards today. Apparently this poor animal's fur is so lovely and so plush and comes to such a fine point that it just makes for the best artist brushes. Siberian Kalinsky. This is still the most prized one today, and it kind of breaks my heart because look, okay, here is the animal. Here is what it looks like. Would you kill this Cruella? Like seriously, unless you were called Cruella. No, you're not. Just no. Who would want to kill this animal just for their fur? You're an awful POS if you do, and I don't want to talk to you. Art should not require the harm of another animal or being. If your art requires suffering for anyone other than themselves in that poetic, artistic way, not in a self-harm way, because we don't want any of that, then no, you shouldn't be doing what you're doing. It's not art, it's actually just torture. 16-hour camo concealer in Fair Warm. I had to wash this brush from yesterday's look, which if you haven't seen, it's just right there for you. It's still wet because I only just washed it before this, and I was like, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. Oh, silly me. For me, I'm going to just lay down some frozen Moscow. So all of this takes us on to the USA in 1950 with DuPont. So they actually created their own synthetic fiber primarily for decorating still. Their development was given urgent impetus by the USA because they banned the import of Chinese bristle. So remember that hog that we talked about before? That's actually a Chinese hog that was actually used. So the US would just like, nah, we don't want to buy that anymore. So they had to start making their own. The primary filament used was nylon, which had the brand name Tynex, and that was extruded, mechanically tapered, and then tipped and flagged to resemble pig bristle. People had to kind of struggle with like the early technology until the 1970s, where DuPont did it again when they found a way of chemically tapering polyester filaments. But obviously, as the market was seen as being too small for them, DuPont actually sold the patent to Toray Industries in Japan. Now Toray developed the process with input from Japanese brush companies, notably Takemoto, who used their brand name Teclon. The only other company to produce chemically tapered filaments in that time was Teijin. Because their filament was slightly different, it didn't infringe on Toray's patent rights. And then, during the 1980s, Toray licensed the patent to a Korean company, Colon. No, no, don't. But then once patent expired in the 90s, many other firms could start their own production. I'm going to take lemon and lime to start off with. Natural hairs are becoming more and more expensive as supplies are becoming scarcer, meaning that artists are moving more towards using synthetics. And obviously as this happens, more investment will be happening in the technology that is developing synthetic replicas. I'm taking a bit of apple cider now. I'll mix that apple cider with sour apple. So we have this more true forest green. This means that the quality of synthetics is only going to get better in the coming years, which is obviously a fantastic thing. I'm going to cut my crease and tell you about the next part. So this actually all leads me on to talking about this amazing website that I found that is literally dedicated to makeup brushes and the history of them and comparing them. Can't believe it. They haven't really posted anything in a few years now, since like 2017, but very good resource. I'll link it down below. They've got an entire article. Now granted, this is in 2014 and the world has changed a lot since then, especially in the makeup world, my goodness. So this article is about the reasons for using animal hair and against it, their history and makeup brushes too. So lots of the remaining information that I'm going to be talking about is actually pulled from there. So traditionally it's been synthetic brushes for liquids and creams and natural hair brushes for powders in the makeup industry as technology has obviously moved along. Now because green getting lighter is a little bit trickier, I'm using Flexitarian from Colourpop. Just gonna add like that bit of shimmer. For cleanliness' sake alone, we should be completely switching over to synthetic brushes, as we're going to talk about now. You might not want to be eating something whilst we talk about this, just a little warning for you. And then to tie all of this in, we're just going to use this as the highlight for both. So the structure of animal hair, which is obviously made up of layers of dead skin cells, actually catches and holds on to your dead skin cells too, product buildup, and they're incredibly hard to get completely clean. Simply because of the surface, because it is incredibly textured, and what makes up the whole cuticle is a whole bunch of like, you know what a hair follicle looks like. I'm pretty sure I don't really need to tell you, but I can show you here. Not to mention of course the fact that they're unethical to buy when we've got so many alternatives on the market, and they're actually becoming more and more expensive as these places that inhumanely farm the animals and then they go out of business, both due to lack of demand and crackdown by the law on ethical animal treatment. For example, it's quite hard to ever say when something is humanely killed, because it's like the definition of humane doesn't quite adhere to that. So for example, Wayne Goss, he's a lovely man, but his makeup brushes, he says that they're made of humanely sourced animal hair. And I'm sorry, but there is like literally zero proof of this, and he's still pushing this from an artistic standpoint. And of course there is like the issue with natural hair and the fact that it sheds, so when you're applying a makeup you can get hair on your face, and that is not entirely uncommon. It's quite funny on this whole debate about like animal hair brushes versus synthetic brushes, like humans are such weird creatures. Because like when you see an animal hair or a hair on your food, humans are like, "Ugh, get it away from me, that's so disgusting." As soon as a hair is put somewhere that it doesn't, you know, belong, whether that's on an animal or otherwise, we think that's the most disgusting thing, especially if it's like on your food or something. Whereas people are paying to put this unhygienic thing that in any other context to put stuff on their face. Sorry. so bizarre to me. I do not understand humans so much. Alright, I actually quite like them when they're filled in. I will go over those lines off camera because otherwise you'll get incredibly bored, but that's quite cute. Brandon's gonna come home from work because it's a Sunday today. And he'll be like, what the hell have you been doing? What's happened to synthetic brushes today? Basically, they've gotten incredibly good at successfully being able to mimic most animal hairs, even the most elusive one of that most adorable animal that we saw earlier. It's not quite there yet, but incredibly close. And the thing is that with synthetic brushes, the technology just keeps on moving on, which is what we're going to talk about right now. By mixing together various diameters or denier of these early synthetic fibers, or getting clever with the toe shape, like brush makers have been able to enhance the pickup and payoff of characteristics of certain synthetic makeup brushes. Let's just see how it looks when I do the little dots. Kind of cute. This is meant to resemble ornaments, okay? So around about 2010, DuPont knocked it out the park once again with their thing that they called Natrofill, which takes another polyester fiber and roughs up the surface structurally, microscopically, with some texturizing additives in a complex and patented process, which resulted in a structured surface. Just like a natural cuticle, this rough microscopic structure, if you're gonna do something right, just dirty up every single makeup brush that you own. Just gonna fill them in with concealer so then it's actually a lot easier to put the powder on top. Helps the fibre to pick up powder as well as or better than goat or pony hair. The Japanese brush maker Taiyaki has developed an all-new patented way of making synthetic fibre with an underlying polyester material. So basically, Taiyaki uses DuPont's Sorona fibre, which is a PTT, to create a new brand of synthetic fibre, Tafre, maybe the most modern and innovative on the market. So Taiyaki uses its manufacturing machines to extrude out the fibre in a way that is similar to the way that hair grows out of skin on an animal, which is to say that they twist it and kink it in a patented process that creates a more natural style of fibre. And because they're using DuPont's Sorona, which contains 37% renewable plant-based ingredients from corn, it's also considered a green, environmentally friendly fibre, and the creation of PBT fibres relies more on fossil fuels. So compared to nylon, Sorona production uses 40% less energy and reduces greenhouse gas emissions by 56%. And interestingly, Sorona is also used in residential and commercial carpets, apparel and automotive mats and carpets, and it's also highly durable with a high degree of stain resistance. Got some liner on and I redid the outside of those because it's a very cartoony look, and I think this could be really cute if you do want to try it out and you want to have some fun. Whichever side you like, if you like the red side, if you like the green side, whatever. I just had to put a base of that down, and then we're going to go in with a more orangey shade. I don't have the right red because I barely own any red lipsticks, okay? This is so many years old, I'll probably get sick from using it. Don't you love that? Straight away get it on your teeth. Right, we're gonna do lashes and then conclusion. I've got the high status lashes on again, same as the one from the video just before. I wanted this to be an edgy look and now look how it's turned out. So basically, you can really buy from almost any brand now that creates vegan and cruelty free brushes, and you're gonna find a really great synthetic fibre. So from the weird original drive of not wanting to support China in the 50s, very strange, we now have this incredible technology that has just gone better and better and better, and it's going to keep on doing that. So I love that fact. I love all of the innovations. Now, one thing I do want to say is it is actually very hard to be able to tell which companies use which products, if that makes sense. So you don't know which exact factory everything comes from. You can reach out to them directly, I suppose, but then it's people just want to keep their trade secrets, man. I can't tell you what to do. So most of the brushes that I use are from MOTD Cosmetics, and they are on the higher end of the scale, but I've been using them for nearly 3 years and I still love them. I haven't really had to buy any other brushes to be able to fill out my collection anymore. They're easy to clean. Because the September Rose Cosmetics, these palettes, they are incredibly pigmented, so it does actually stain the fibre of these brushes. which is okay. I mean, like, I don't use like a harsh soap on them at all. Like if I use something that was really harsh, then I'd probably be able to get rid of the stains, but I don't really care about that. But anyway, they are a great brand to be able to like get some like good kit for yourself, because the thing about synthetic brushes is the fact that you don't have to throw them out after like a few years the same way that you have to with natural bristles, because again, they are germy and they hold on to germs, and it's really hard to actually get them completely clean. So just from a cleanliness standpoint, we should all be switching to synthetic. Some cheaper brands that I would probably be recommending is Real Techniques. I used that for my highlighter today. They actually do have like really great products, Real Techniques do. There's Colourpop as well. I know that e.l.f. have some. Zoeva is kind of like a bit more of a mid-ground, but they're also really good when it comes to like their makeup brushes. I'm not recommending anything by Morphe ever, because I do not agree with their company principles. If you want to also invest a little bit more than the OG in terms of like the YouTube stuff, I would say Sigma Beauty, because you think back to like 2014, I owned Sigma brushes, and for some stupid reason I thought I had to throw them away after a few years, and it's like, no you didn't. I should have kept hold of them because those brushes are really good. But anyway, the Sigma brushes, like you can get complete sets, and of course we're coming to like the festive time of year, so you can like kit yourself out with that or with MOTD. Either way, you're going to be really happy. There are a whole bunch more which I will have on screen now or just listed down below, or you could actually comment down below which your favourite cruelty-free vegan brushes are. I think that what we've been able to achieve now is incredible, and like I said, the fact that people are wanting to support more ethically, people are just foregoing the stuff that causes unnecessary animal harm. I mean, it's like, we look what happened to the minks in, I don't know if it was in Sweden or in Norway, because of, you know, the plague that cannot be named right now, and everyone was heartbroken by that, and I'm like, well, why are you pushing for this thing when it's actually causing a hell of a lot of pain, when you've got technology out there that is like so close? So why would you choose something that's more expensive, less hygienic, sheds and also just causes harm? Like, why would you do any of that stuff? It doesn't make sense. So I hope that this was useful for you. I hope that you learned something. Maybe this information will come up in a pub quiz at some point. If not, then this has been an interesting journey into where we've come so far in terms of like creating cruelty-free brushes that we can use for our artistry on our face, because obviously this is art. No one can deny that fact. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this, and if you do recreate this look, please do tag me on Instagram, BryonyClaire_vegan. That's all it is. Very easy to find me. Don't forget to subscribe, because I've got all my 12 days of Christmas coming out. Obviously, we're halfway through right now, oh my god. And then on the last day, which is coming out on Christmas Day, we're actually diving into my favourite products for all of 2020, so then you can fill up your carts, avoid spending time with people you don't want to spend time with, or just the existential crisis that is everyone's life in 2020, and you can distract yourself by watching what I'm coming out with, which will hopefully be fun and joyful, and that is the whole point of these 12 videos. So thank you lovelies so much for watching, and I'll see you all again very soon. Bye! There's a big ginger kitty out there with a puffy tail. Oh my god. Oh, you're so cute. Oh my god, cat fluff. I can't ruin this look.